Yes, it's the new adventures. The old man's new misadventures is what it really is in Linux. I guess I'm not so sure where I left off before, but anyway, I'm transitioning to this brand new machine. It's and I have AV Linux MX21 running on it. So let me just first talk about it because now that I'm getting it, kind of getting the hands on it and getting a handle on how it works and all that, it's just a beautiful thing. I mean, I love this program. Um, Now, it sure helps that I've got a basically a brand new machine. Um, Not to the gaming world, but to me, it's a brand new type of machine, and it just runs so well. But this AV Linux is just stunningly beautiful. Everything about it. I'm not sure where the AV part stops and the MX part begins, and but I have read both manuals for the most part. I have jumped around from subject to subject inside of the manuals. Both of the manuals for this operating system are some of the best, work and manuals and explanations that I've ever read, really. Um, if anybody's interested in getting MX Linux, it's one of the easier ones to download if you go to the guy who produced all of this. Can't don't know his name. His website is called Band Shed, and if you um, start reading his manual, well, I think it's right there in the. I think he has a download page, and he's got the parts. Most of the time you download something that would be akin to a zip file in Linux. It's called a tar file. I don't know what those. I don't know what that stands for, but he already has what you need extracted. So you just download the. I think it's 3 or 4 files. One of the files is just in kind of instructions, and one of them is a sum check, which I know a lot of you Linux people know about, but people that aren't familiar with Linux, if you want to, pretty much everything that you stick into, your distro or your operating system, all the little pieces that fit to make it work, um, you want to check them for authenticity and whether something's broken inside, or so they call that sum checks. And every time one of these little programs is installed on Linux or you download, you know, you use these checksums. I don't know. I think you'll probably call them sum checks, but it's checksums to just check out if the appropriate, you know, structure of what you're trying to load into your system is, it's if it's all kosher or not. So, but in any case, you just get it. It's easy to download. You do have to still put it on a, um, you know, um, a USB stick and reboot your machine, just like, well, anything. But I did that, and it worked perfectly. So I did kind of, I didn't really cheat, but I used Etcher, which I'm used to using. Um, I have successfully used the DD command in Linux, or GNU Linux. That's what I'm going to start calling it because that's what it is. Um, and anyway, that all just went. It was just easy to do, and this unbelievably beautiful operating system shows up. Now I've been working on it for about a month, in between other things I've been doing, but I still haven't quite got my studio done, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But everything on this machine works. And I did have a problem with the sound card. I changed it out to this uh, Mutu, however you say it, and all is well. Everything works. I have run through Ardor completely, checked out the the MIDI's working. Um, the microphone that's plugged into the little sound card's great. I can hear the sound. It makes tracks. I haven't gotten back into it, so I'm not really going to talk too much about Ardor because it's kind of a new program to me. I'm sure there's common threads in it, and and fooling around with it in I was going to say Arch, but Manjaro, previous to installing this MX Linux, I just couldn't, because it didn't work, I learned a lot about Ardor. Been all through Ardor. I know where to go in Ardor to look for things, that are pertinent to recording. So, in that sense, my fiasco before I installed this program was worth it because I learned so much. And in that life, you learn so much by failing. Anyway, so super happy with AV Linux. I'm gonna take us on a little virtual tour of things once I get more into it. Probably do that in one of my next my next videos about my misadventures in Linux. I'm gonna try to do one of those maybe every month or every 2 months or something, just to talk about where I'm at in my sojourn through the world of Linux. One kind of funky thing that did happen in my Manjaro setup on my little laptop computer, which I use most of the time because everything's on there. All my medical records and my banking, and I pay all my household bills through there, and all my online shopping and all that kind of stuff. I confine it to that little machine, and it works great. Now, anybody who's familiar with the Arch world knows that it's called Bleeding Edge because it's just upgraded all the time. I mean, everything. So here's one of the problems with that. I was getting used to a little program called LMMS and learning it because, to me it's like playing a game. A lot of people get into gaming and all that kind of stuff, even this AI BS. But me, I like fooling around with these little operating systems. I've learned lots of them, from Fruity Loops to, well, I don't want to start naming them all, There's ones for the phone, G Stomper, and there was another one I learned, blah, 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 blah. They all sort of have a common thread. So I had learned this LMMS, which is not a full. It's like a little sequencer. It's like a little groove machine, right? You can you can do some beats. You can add some synthesizers, piano, bass parts, stuff like that, and make yourself little grooves or little, backing tracks as you will, whatever. So here comes Manjaro, does this huge thing and wiped LMMS. So I hope that they get LMMS fixed. And I searched for a couple of fixes for it, and apparently this is a lot of people suffered or still suffering through this, and there is some kind of a fix for the guys that are using it, some means of their own production or something. Um, and I could see that because it's a good enough machine to use as like background music for, if you had your little podcast or something like that, you could produce your own stuff. But anyway, I'm sure that they will. LMMS has been around for a long time, and it will continue to be around. I don't know if it's. I don't think it's XFCE that's making the problem. Although, anyway, I'm not going to fool around with it. I don't, like I said, I don't do that much. Now that I have this working, and I have so much other work to do on my Windows machine with Pro Tools. Speaking of which, I decided to go ahead and make sure that I knew everything I could about OBS while I was getting ready. I was almost to the point I was going to push my studio back up against the wall, put a period on my, and then all I have to do is start cleaning up all my guitars, which that was going to be after I finished rebuilding the studio. So I went on OBS, which I have installed on the Windows Studio, right? And I made a little WAV file, put it in my media thing, and naturally OBS will take these media files and it just starts looping it. You can tell it to stop. You can make it start and stop, whatever. But it naturally just will loop. And so I put that on there, in E, some strings, and I was gonna play the guitar, my little Spanish guitar, over the top of it, and all was well up to a certain point. And then I started playing the guitar, trying to play the guitar and it just froze and just freaking out, making all kind of noises. I made sure all the other programs were turned off because I know in Windows, Windows doesn't like to share, and Pro Tools doesn't like to share. So I thought maybe, that's had something to do with it. So I started looking around, figured out, you got a 1 gig video card in there. And it's got to handle a dual monitor system. And, it just wasn't happening. I'm running a quad core Phenom, in there, but it's an older quad core. It was AMD, probably circa around 2008, I think, when I got that CPU, somewhere in there. So that's how old it is. Which for an old guy like me doesn't seem like it's that old, but in the computer world, it's very old, in the technical world. So I decided to go ahead. All right, I'm just going to yank that out and put in a new video card. So that's what I started doing. I yanked my system out of my rack, opened it up. It's sitting here, right here beside me. I am taking a few videos of it. Eventually, I've got a video I'm going to splice all together with all my video, all my building of the new system and the parts and stuff. Most of that kind of crap is boring, except for people that like to build, their own systems. So I just went, what the hell? I might as well take this DDR3 system and make it the best it can be. So I just started researching it. I decided to upgrade the CPU to a 8-core. I got an FX 8300. I started reading about. I didn't want to get too much more than that because those CPUs start running really hot, and you got to get huge coolers for them and all that. And the 8300 still runs pretty hot, but it's only drawing about 95 watts. The thing of it is the future, the DDR4 and the DDR5, they actually got using less power but giving you more CPU power. How they engineered that, I have no idea, but that's the whole criteria. So anyway, now I'm waiting on a Thermaltake fan. I've already installed the CPU, but it's just sitting there, and it had this little bitty fan sitting on top of it. There it is. Here's the stock fan for my Phenom quad core, and a great fan for what it was. It's even a 4-pin, so it does the PWM stuff. It's got two copper tubes. The newer one I got is 4 and sits up. And all of this stuff is, and of course it has a stronger, better fan. But that's basically all there is to it. This just was not powerful enough to run the new CPU. And I actually had a take one. Let me show you that one. Well, I don't want to open the box, but anyway, it doesn't even have a picture of the cooler on it. I don't want it, but anyway, it's for a fan. It's for a CPU that doesn't get as hot as this, so it wouldn't work either. Even though it was more powerful, it was stronger than the one I just showed you. That's a generic. I don't know. It was probably AMD, but it doesn't have any markings on it. It just has some lettering. So that's where that's all at. One thing led to another, and then I went ahead and I replaced all the fans to the Nokita. I don't know how you say it. It's the Austrian company that makes those really great fans, like this machine here. I mean, I can still hear a little bit of ambient noise coming out of it, but nothing compared to this other machine. So I'm hoping this machine is going to quiet down as well. I'm also still going to look for some sort of like little mini soundproofing thing, because I'm just so close to my machines, and I don't have the room. I just simply don't have the room. I used to have a whole single car garage before we moved here, and now I have a little portion of the guest bedroom. But I did get my own bathroom out of the deal, which is important at my age. the older you get, the less you want to share your bathroom with your partner. I mean, you both get too old and funky. Even though we still love each other very much. Okay, well, that's pretty much it. My adventures really aren't misadventures. They're fun, great adventures. I'm still learning all this stuff. Um, my little OBS thing was kind of funny, silly too. I don't know if anybody recognized it, but a couple of my older videos when I was first started trying to make videos off of these machines, I was running it in stereo. Couldn't figure out why sound was only coming out of one side or the other. And being completely deaf in this ear, I didn't even realize it for quite a spell on these machines, because I guess I had just put the headphones on correctly and the sound was only coming out of, this side, the side I can hear on. So I was going around to all these other weird places trying to figure out on the machines, on the sound cards, in the jack, setup window, and all these other places. And finally, I'm just sitting here one evening, and I have OBS on, and I'm staring at myself. I'm actually was trying to get, lighting and sound, because it's for this machine, it's all brand new. So I'm trying to figure out how it's going to look, and without too much, because I'm not going to do too much, But I do want it to sound good, and I do want the image to be even as funky as the image is, and as real as the image is. I want it to all be good. So, staring at myself. Then it dawned on me, well, wait a second. OBS has an advanced audio section. So I went in there, and there was all the mics listed. I have like mics, 2 or 3 mics. But this one was listed, and right next to it was stereo or mono. So I clicked the mono. Now the sound comes, I can hear sound from both sides now. Not to quote Joni, but I can hear sound from both sides now on these machines, even from a little cafe in Paris. I have no idea. That's just absolutely, now I'm getting just ridiculous. All right, that's enough of this nonsense. Anyway, doubt too many people made it this far in my video, but for those who did, thanks for watching the old man's misadventures in Linux one more time, and I will catch you all in the funny papers.